The conference hall stretched across an entire asteroid, carved from solid rock and decorated with crystals that glowed in colors humans had no names for. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the podium, her hands trembling slightly as she held the data pad. Around her, representatives from 47 alien species watched with eyes that ranged from sympathetic to coldly indifferent. "We have lost 12 colonies in the past 3 months," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the weight crushing her chest. 2 million human lives. "The plague spreads faster than we can evacuate. We are invoking Article 7 of the Mutual Defense Treaty. We need help." The Vexthari representative, a being that looked like flowing mercury given shape, spoke first. Its voice came through translators as a melodic hum. "The Council has reviewed your request. We have decided that intervention would be premature." Sarah felt her blood turn cold. "Premature? Our people are dying." "Many species face hardships," the Krill delegate clicked, its insectoid mandibles moving in what might have been a smile. "The galaxy cannot rush to solve every problem." The meeting continued for another hour, but the answer remained the same. No aid, no support, no help. Sarah left the chamber feeling like she was walking through a nightmare. In 50 years of membership, the Council had never refused a direct plea for help. Never. On the shuttle back to Earth, Sarah reviewed the voting records. Every species had voted against helping humanity. Every single one. The odds of that happening by chance were impossible. This was coordinated. Back on Earth, Director James Morrison stood in the operations center beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens covered every wall, showing data streams from across human space. Each red dot on the map represented a colony under quarantine. Each blinking red dot meant the plague had reached critical infection rates. "Sir, we have the analysis back on the pathogen," Dr. Yuki Tanaka said, her face pale. She had not slept in 48 hours. None of them had. "Tell me something good," Morrison said. "It's artificial, designed, created in a lab." Yuki pulled up a molecular model. "And it's not just one lab. The genetic markers show collaboration between at least 15 different biological frameworks." "Sir, this plague was made by multiple species working together." The room went silent. Morrison stared at the model, feeling the truth settle into his bones like ice. "They did this to us. It looks that way," Yuki whispered. Morrison activated the emergency channel. Within an hour, every human military commander, every colony governor, every ship captain received the same classified briefing. The Galactic Council had not just refused to help humanity, they had created the weapon killing them. The why became clear 3 days later. Lieutenant Marcus Webb had been monitoring Council communications, a task considered routine until now. He burst into Morrison's office, his dark skin ashen. "Sir, you need to hear this. It's a recording from the Council's private channels. Our AIs cracked their encryption." The voice that played was the Vexithari Prime Administrator. "The humans have begun activating architect sites. 3 installations have responded to their presence. If we do not act now, they will unlock technology that predates our civilizations, technology that recognizes them as worthy inheritors. We cannot allow a species this young, this unpredictable, to wield such power. The vote must be unanimous. Total commitment." Another voice, this one belonging to the Krill Hive Mother, agreed. "The genetic modifications to reduce their aggression and innovation capacity are ready. If they refuse voluntary compliance, the plague will force surrender. Either they become docile or they become extinct." Marcus stopped the recording. Morrison sat back in his chair, processing. The architects. Ancient ruins scattered across the galaxy. Humanity had found dozens of sites during exploration, but they had never activated. The Council had studied them for thousands of years with no success. Apparently, human brains were different enough to make the dead technology wake up. "They're afraid of us," Morrison said quietly. "Not of what we are, but what we could become." The Council's ultimatum arrived on schedule. The message played on every human world simultaneously. The Vexthari spoke with rehearsed compassion. "Humanity, we offer you a choice. Submit to genetic therapy that will help you integrate peacefully into galactic society. Your aggression will be reduced. Your innovative impulses will be tempered. You will become productive members of the Council. Or refuse and the plague will run its course. Your quarantine will become permanent. Your species will end. You have 30 days. On Earth, riots broke out in major cities. Some screamed for surrender to save whatever they could. Others demanded war, even if it meant dying on their feet. The government struggled to maintain order while scientists worked desperately for solutions. In Antarctica, beneath ice that had been undisturbed for millions of years, a research team worked in a facility that officially did not exist. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo led the team, and she had been studying architect technology since humanity first found it. While the council thought they had tracked all human research, they had missed this one installation. "It's responding," Sarah said, watching as the ancient machine pulsed with light. "My neural patterns are making it wake up." The facility's AI, named Archimedes, had been analyzing the plague nonstop. "Doctor, I have isolated the cure. The pathogen is sophisticated but not perfect. I can synthesize a counteragent. How long?" Sarah asked. 72 hours for first batch. But there is more. This architect installation is a data repository. It is showing me things. Weapons, ships, technology that makes council warships look like children's toys. Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the Antarctic cold. "Can we use it?" "Yes, but more importantly, there are hundreds of other installations across the galaxy. They are all waking up. They're all calling to human minds. The Council was right to fear this, Doctor. If we activate them fully, we become the most powerful force in the galaxy overnight." Back in the command center, Morrison reviewed the data from Antarctica. He also reviewed Protocol Nemesis, a plan created by paranoid military strategists who assumed that first contact might eventually go very wrong. Humanity had prepared shipyards in the outer solar system, hidden behind Jupiter and Saturn, weapons development that violated Council treaties, AI warfare programs that pushed ethical boundaries. Morrison opened a channel to every human world, every ship, every station. "This is Director Morrison. You have all seen the Council's ultimatum. You have all lost loved ones to their plague. I want you to know that we have found the cure. We know who did this to us, and we know why." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. "They fear us because we can become something greater than they ever imagined. They tried to kill us because we represented change they could not control. In 29 days, they expect our answer." "Here it is," Morrison's face hardened. "We decline. We will cure our sick. We will free our colonies, and we will show them exactly why they were right to be afraid. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity survives, and when we survive, we remember everything." Across human space, the message was received. The tears stopped. The arguments ended. Humanity began preparing for war. In orbit around Earth, hidden construction yards came alive with activity. Ships that should not exist began launching, and on 47 worlds, Council representatives slept peacefully, certain that the primitive humans would choose survival over pride. They would learn how wrong they were. Humanity had chosen both. The first bombardment hit Earth's orbital stations 3 hours after humanity declined the Council's ultimatum. Captain Jennifer Hayes watched from the bridge of the ESS Defiance as the Vexthari fleet opened fire. Metal and flesh vaporized in brilliant flashes of light. 2,000 people died in the first 30 seconds. "All ships return fire," Jennifer ordered, knowing it was hopeless. Earth's fleet numbered 47 warships. The Council had brought 300. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it ended, only 12 human ships survived, retreating toward Earth's moon with Council forces in pursuit. Jennifer's ship had taken damage to 3 decks. Fires burned in sections she had sealed off. Her crew of 200 was down to 63. "Ma'am, they're broadcasting," her communications officer said. The young man had blood running down his face from a head wound. The Krill Hive Mother appeared on screen, her mandibles clicking in satisfaction. "Humans of Earth, you have chosen poorly. Your orbital defenses are destroyed. Your fleet is broken. Surrender now, or we will begin planetary bombardment. You have 1 hour." Jennifer cut the transmission. She looked at her surviving crew. "Get us to the moon base. We need to warn them about what's coming." Across the galaxy, human colonies suffered similar fates. New Seattle, a world of gleaming towers and green parks, watched as Council ships entered orbit. Governor Thomas Price had 20,000 people to protect and no weapons that could threaten a warship. "They're demanding we open our shields and allow boarding parties," his aide said, voice shaking. Thomas looked at the people gathered in the government building's bunker, families holding children, elderly couples clutching each other. "Tell them we need time to prepare for orderly surrender. Buy us whatever hours you can." His aide nodded and left. Thomas opened a secure channel to the colony's computer core. "Diana, activate Protocol Nemesis Package 7. The AI responded immediately. Confirmed, Governor. Wiping all research data, destroying manufacturing facilities, arming deadman switches. If they're going to take our colony, they'll get nothing useful from it, Thomas said quietly. Other governors across human space made similar choices. Burn everything. Leave nothing for the enemy. On Kepler 442b, Dr. Marcus Chen watched his patients die. The plague had reached the final stage. People's bodies broke down at the cellular level. No amount of medicine helped. The hospital had become a hospice. Doctor, we're receiving a transmission, a nurse said. It's encoded on a frequency that shouldn't exist. Marcus accessed the message. It was from Earth, buried inside what looked like random radiation. Cure is coming. 60 hours. Keep them alive. We haven't forgotten you. Marcus felt tears on his face. He returned to his patients with renewed purpose. Listen to me, he told them. I need you to fight. Just 2 more days. Earth is coming. In the Antarctic facility, Dr. Sarah Okonkwo worked without sleeping. The architect installation had revealed things that both amazed and terrified her. The machines showed her star maps of weapons platforms scattered across the galaxy. They showed her ship designs that could cross the galaxy in days. They showed her weapons that could crack planets. Doctor, the cure is ready, Archimedes announced. I have also completed analysis of the nearest architect military installation. It is located in the Sagittarius sector, approximately 200 light-years from Earth. Can we activate it remotely? Sarah asked. No, but I can provide coordinates and activation sequences. A human will need to be physically present. Sarah pulled up a star chart. The installation was deep in council space, far from any human colony. Getting there would be suicide. But what the AI showed her made the risk worthwhile. The installation contained a weapons platform capable of sterilizing an entire star system. She sent the data to Director Morrison with a simple message. This is what they feared. Now I understand why. Morrison reviewed Sarah's findings in his bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. Outside, sirens wailed as Earth prepared for invasion. Cities evacuated to underground shelters. Military forces dug in around strategic points. Everyone knew it was hopeless. The Council's fleet was too large, too advanced. But Morrison had secrets the Council did not know about. Connect me to Admiral Kuznetsov, he ordered. The Admiral appeared on screen, her weathered face calm, despite commanding humanity's desperate defense. Director, Elena, I'm sending you coordinates for 3 targets. They are architect installations. I need strike teams deployed within 24 hours. Sir, those locations are behind enemy lines. Most are surrounded by Council fleets, I know. But if we activate them, we change everything. The Council thought they had neutralized the threat by destroying our fleet. They don't know about Project Phantom. Elena allowed herself a small smile. The stealth ships, 40 of them. Small, fast, and completely invisible to Council sensors. They were built for exactly this scenario. Morrison leaned forward. Send them now. We might not get another chance. The first Phantom-class ship launched from a hidden facility on the dark side of the moon. It was no larger than a fighter, with room for only 3 crew members. Its hull was coated in materials that absorbed sensor beams. Its engines ran cold, producing almost no thermal signature. Lieutenant Sarah Kim piloted the ship, her hands steady on the controls. Behind her, 2 specialists prepared their equipment. Their target was the Sagittarius installation, the weapons platform Sarah Okonkwo had discovered. We're clear of Earth orbit, Sarah reported. Engaging quantum drive. The ship vanished from normal space, traveling through a dimension the Council had never discovered. Human scientists had found it by accident 10 years ago and kept it absolutely secret. The journey that would take Council ships 3 months took the Phantom 48 hours. On Earth, the Council fleet moved into bombardment positions. The Vexthari commander prepared to fire on population centers when a transmission came from the surface. This is Director Morrison. We wish to discuss terms. The commander felt satisfaction. The humans had broken quickly. You will surrender unconditionally. Your people will submit to genetic modification. Your technology will be surrendered. Your colonies will be occupied. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Morrison said calmly. I'm not offering our surrender. I'm explaining why you should surrender to us. The Vexthari commander would have laughed if his species did such things. You have no fleet. Your defenses are broken. What could you possibly threaten us with? Watch the Sagittarius sector, Morrison said. Something interesting is about to happen. 200 light-years away, Lieutenant Sarah Kim brought her Phantom-class ship alongside the Architect installation. It hung in space like a massive crystal, pulsing with inner light. Council sensors had marked it as inactive for thousands of years. Sarah put on her helmet. "I'm going in." She crossed to the installation using her suit jets. When she touched the crystal surface, it responded. Patterns of light formed beneath her gloved hand. Recognizing her human neural signature, a portal opened. Inside, Sarah found herself in a chamber that seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. Symbols floated in the air, waiting. She followed the activation sequence Archimedes had provided. Touching each symbol in order, the installation awakened. Power that had slept for eons flared to life. Across the sector, Council ships detected massive energy readings. Their sensors screamed warnings. The weapons platform targeted the 3 nearest Council military bases. Beams of impossible light lanced across the void. Shields that could withstand nuclear weapons evaporated. Hulls designed to resist extreme temperatures melted like wax. 3 bases, each housing 10,000 troops, simply ceased to exist. Sarah stumbled back to her ship, her mind reeling from what she had witnessed. "Target destroyed," she reported, her voice shaking. "Platform is active and under human control." On Earth, Morrison watched as Council commanders received reports of the attack. He saw fear enter their alien faces for the first time. "That was one installation," Morrison said quietly. "We have activated 7 more in the past hour. Each one is targeting Council military positions. Would you like to continue discussing our surrender, or shall we discuss yours?" The transmission ended. Morrison turned to his staff. "Get the cure to every infected colony, scramble every ship we have left, and send a message to every human in the galaxy. The same message: we're coming to get you." Hold on. Across human space, people received the message. In hospitals, doctors administered the cure and watched their patients begin to recover. On occupied colonies, resistance cells activated, striking at Council forces with renewed hope. In hidden bases, ships that should not exist launched toward enemy territory. The Council had tried to destroy humanity to prevent them from accessing Architect technology. Instead, they had given humanity every reason to unleash it. The war was just beginning, and the galaxy was about to learn why you should never corner a desperate species with nothing left to lose. Admiral Elena Kuznetsov stood on the bridge of the ESS Retribution, watching as 17 Phantom-class ships materialized around her flagship. In the distance, the Krill homeworld glowed blue and green against the darkness of space. Orbital platforms surrounded it like a metal ring. Defense satellites numbered in the thousands. "Ma'am, we're detecting 643 military targets in orbit," her tactical officer reported. "Recommend we activate the Architect weapon." Elena studied the planet below. 3 billion Krill lived there. Workers, children, people who had nothing to do with the decision to genocide humanity. People who probably did not even know what their leaders had done. "Negative," Elena said. "Target only military installations. We're here to cripple their ability to make war, not to become mass murderers." Her executive officer, Commander James Park, moved closer. "Ma'am, with respect, they tried to kill every human alive. They released a plague designed to make us extinct. We have the power to end them right now." "We do," Elena agreed. "And that's exactly why we won't. Fire on military targets only. If we start killing civilians, we become exactly what they claimed we were." The Retribution's main weapon charged. It was not a traditional gun or missile system. It was Architect technology, pulled from an installation near Proxima Centauri. The weapon manipulated gravity itself, creating waves that could crush matter into powder. Elena designated her targets carefully. Orbital defense platforms, military shipyards, the fleet command station. She avoided population centers, avoided anything that looked like civilian infrastructure. "Fire," she ordered. Invisible waves of gravity struck the Krill orbital defenses. Metal crumpled. Ships collapsed in on themselves. Stations fell from orbit, trailing fire. In 30 seconds, the Krill lost 40% of their military space capacity. Alarms screamed across the homeworld. The Hive Mother emerged from her chambers, her mandibles clicking in panic. "What is happening?" "The humans, Your Majesty," an aide reported. A single ship appeared in orbit. "It destroyed our defenses. It's broadcasting a message." Elena's face appeared on every screen across the planet. "People of Krill, this is Admiral Kuznetsov of Earth. Your leaders committed an act of genocide against humanity. They created a plague to kill us all. They tried to break us. They failed." She paused. "We have the power to do to you what you tried to do to us. We could burn your world. Instead, we are choosing restraint. Your military is crippled. Your ability to wage war is ended. If your leaders attempt to rebuild their war machine, we will return. We remember everything you did to us. We will never forget." The transmission ended. The retribution jumped away before the Krill could mount any response. Similar scenes played out across Council space. Human ships struck at military targets on 23 worlds in coordinated attacks. The Council's ability to project force evaporated in a single day. On the Vexthari capital world, Prime Administrator Veltesh watched reports flood in. Entire fleets destroyed. Orbital defenses reduced to scrap. The humans were using technology that should not exist. Technology his people had studied for 3,000 years without success. How? He asked his advisors. How did they unlock architect systems in weeks when we studied them for millennia? A Vexthari scientist trembled as she answered. Their neural structure, Administrator. Human brains evolve differently. They process information in patterns that match architect programming languages. When a human interacts with architect technology, it recognizes them as the inheritors. But the architects died out millions of years ago, Veltesh said. How can they recognize anyone? Their systems were designed to wait, to remain dormant until a species with the right cognitive patterns emerged. The architects built for a successor race. It appears humans are that race. Veltesh felt something he had not experienced in his long life. Genuine fear. His people had started this war to prevent humans from accessing power they could not control. Instead, they had pushed humanity into embracing that power fully. Open a channel to all council members, Veltesh ordered. Emergency session. We need to discuss peace terms before the humans decide to stop showing restraint. The council meeting took place on a neutral station. 47 species sent representatives. They arrived to find human ships surrounding the station, including 3 massive vessels that had not existed a month ago. The ships were built using architect manufacturing techniques, assembled in days rather than years. Director Morrison led the human delegation. He walked into the chamber where humanity had begged for help and been refused. He remembered every face that had voted against saving human lives. Gentlemen and ladies, Morrison began, his voice cold. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Let's be clear about our current situation. In 3 weeks, humanity went from facing extinction to possessing the most powerful military force in the galaxy. We have activated 42 architect installations. We have weapons that can crack planets. We have ships that can cross the galaxy in days. We have technology that makes your most advanced systems look primitive. The Vexthari representative shifted nervously. Director Morrison, the council acknowledges that mistakes were made. Mistakes? Morrison's voice cut like a blade. You tried to commit genocide. You created a plague specifically designed to kill humans. You coordinated the attack across every major species. You gave us an ultimatum. Submit to having our minds altered or die. Those weren't mistakes. Those were calculated attempts at species murder. The chamber went silent. Species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years now sat like children being scolded. However, Morrison continued, humanity is not interested in genocide. We're not interested in ruling the galaxy or enslaving other species. We just want to ensure this never happens again. The Krill hive mother spoke, her voice subdued. What are your terms? Morrison displayed a holographic document. The Galactic Council is dissolved, effective immediately. A new governance structure will be created with these principles. Every species gets representation. No species can be voted into extinction. No coordinated military action against any member species. Independent oversight committees with enforcement power. And most importantly, any species that violates these principles faces immediate sanctions backed by force. You want us to give up our sovereignty? The Vexthari protested. No, Morrison said. We want you to give up your ability to commit genocide without consequences. There's a difference. A younger species, the Talvarians, spoke up. Their representative was only 30 years old, which was young for their kind. Director Morrison, not all council species supported the action against humanity. My people voted under duress. The elder species made it clear there would be consequences for refusing. Morrison studied the Talvarian. Intelligence reports confirmed that 12 younger species had protested the genocide privately, though they had voted for it publicly. We're aware, Morrison said, which is why our sanctions are tiered. Species that orchestrated the attack face the harshest penalties. Species that participated reluctantly face lesser consequences. But everyone pays something. Everyone needs to remember that actions have results. The discussions continued for 3 days. Humanity held all the leverage. Every species knew that Earth could destroy any of them with minimal effort. The question was not whether they would accept human terms. The question was how to accept them without losing all dignity. Finally, an agreement was reached. The Council would dissolve. A new democratic federation would replace it. Humanity would control architect technology, but would not use it for offensive purposes except in self-defense. War crime tribunals would be established to prosecute those responsible for the genocide attempt. But not everyone was satisfied with peaceful resolution. On the 4th night, a Krill assassin infiltrated the station. She made it within 50 meters of Morrison's quarters before human security detected her. The firefight was brief. The assassin died, but not before transmitting a final message. The Hive remembers. The Hive will have revenge. Morrison watched the assassin's body being carried away. Commander Park stood beside him. Sir, maybe we're being too soft. They tried to kill us all. They're still trying. One assassin doesn't represent an entire species, Morrison said. But send a message to the Krill government. Any further assassination attempts, and we will consider it an act of war. And this time, we won't stop at military targets. The message was received. The Hive Mother personally apologized and executed the officials who had approved the assassination. The message was clear. No one wanted to see what humans would do if they stopped showing restraint. Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Okonkwo studied the architect installations with growing unease. Director Morrison, we need to talk about the technology. Morrison visited her lab in person. What's wrong? The architect systems are amazing, Sarah explained. But they're also changing us. Every human who interfaces with their technology experiences neural restructuring. We're becoming smarter, faster, more capable. But we're also becoming less human. The technology is optimizing our brains for efficiency. In a few years, we might not recognize ourselves. Morrison felt cold. How long before the changes become irreversible? For most people, years. But for those like me who work directly with architect systems, maybe months. Captain Jennifer Hayes brought the ESS Defiance into orbit around the Vexithari colony world of Teshvar. Below her, 8 million Vexithari lived in gleaming cities that floated above shallow seas. This world had supplied ships to the fleet that attacked Earth. Intelligence confirmed that weapons used to kill humans were manufactured here. Ma'am, we have target locks on industrial centers, her weapons officer reported. Ready to fire on your command. Jennifer looked at the beautiful world below. She thought about the orbital station that had died above Earth. She thought about her friends who had burned in that first attack. She thought about the 2,000 people who died in 30 seconds. Fire, she said quietly. Kinetic missiles struck factories, shipyards, and manufacturing complexes. Explosions bloomed like flowers. But Jennifer had been careful. No residential areas were targeted. No hospitals or schools. Only the infrastructure that built weapons of war. Within an hour, Teshvar's ability to produce military equipment was reduced to 0. Similar strikes happened across Council space. Human ships using architect speed technology hit 70 industrial targets in a single day. The galaxy's military production ground to a halt. But in the Defiance's ready room, Jennifer sat alone and wondered if she was becoming a monster. She had just destroyed the livelihoods of millions, families who depended on those factories for income, people who would now struggle to survive. Her first officer, Lieutenant Marcus Webb, found her there. Captain, you did what needed to be done. Did I? Jennifer asked. Or did I just create millions of new people who hate humanity? People who will teach their children to hate us? How is that different from what the Council did to us? Marcus sat down across from her. The difference is that we left them alive. We destroyed their ability to make war, not their ability to live. That's the line we're walking, Captain. Necessary force, not excessive force. On the Krill homeworld, protests erupted in the streets. Workers from destroyed factories demanded their government take action. The Hive Mother faced pressure from military commanders who wanted revenge. General Kreshtal, commander of the Krill ground forces, addressed the War Council. We cannot allow these attacks to continue. The humans are systematically dismantling our defensive capabilities. We must strike back. The Hive Mother's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Strike back with what, General? They destroyed our fleet. They crippled our orbital defenses. They have weapons we cannot counter. What would you have us do? There are other ways to fight, Kreshtal said. Insurgency, terrorism. We make them pay for every world they occupy. We make them bleed. A younger council member, Advisor Teshaval, spoke up hesitantly. Your Majesty, perhaps we should consider that we brought this upon ourselves. We attempted genocide. The humans are showing remarkable restraint given what we did. Kreshtal turned on Teshaval with fury. Restraint? They are destroying our civilization. No, Teshaval countered. They are destroying our ability to threaten them. There is a difference. They could have burned our world. They could have released plagues of their own. They chose not to. The argument continued for hours. Finally, the Hive Mother made her decision. We will not pursue insurgency. We will not become terrorists. The General is correct that humans are dismantling our defensive capabilities, but Advisor Teshaval is also correct that they are showing restraint we do not deserve. We will accept the peace terms. We will rebuild as a species focused on survival rather than conquest. General Kreshtal's mandibles clicked in disgust. You condemn us to weakness. No, the Hive Mother said. I condemn us to life. Be grateful the humans offered us that choice. But not everyone accepted peace. On 15 worlds, extremist groups formed. Krill, Vexthari, and others who refused to accept defeat. They called themselves the Purity Front and vowed to drive humanity from the galaxy. Their first attack targeted a human medical ship delivering plague cure to outer colonies. The ship carried no weapons, only doctors and medicine. The Purity Front destroyed it with all hands. 263 people died, including Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the scientist who had helped develop the cure. The news reached Earth like a thunderclap. Director Morrison read the casualty list with shaking hands. Dr. Tanaka had saved millions of lives. She had worked 48 hours straight to create the cure. And extremists had murdered her for being human. Commander James Park burst into Morrison's office. Sir, we need to respond. We need to hit them hard. Show them what happens when they kill our people. Morrison looked at the data. Intelligence had located 3 Purity Front bases. Each was located near civilian population centers. Striking them would mean significant collateral damage. If we bomb those bases, we kill civilians, Morrison said. We become what they say we are. Then what do we do? Park demanded. Let them murder our people without consequence. No, Morrison said. We hunt them down, precisely, carefully. We show the galaxy that we can fight terrorism without becoming terrorists ourselves. Over the next month, human special forces conducted surgical strikes against Purity Front cells. They used intelligence gathered by sympathetic aliens who opposed the extremists. They minimized civilian casualties. They took prisoners when possible and treated them according to law. It was slow, difficult work. 3 more human ships were attacked. 58 more people died, but humanity held the line. They fought with precision rather than overwhelming force. Colonel Sarah Kim led a raid on a Purity Front base hidden in the ruins of an old mining station. Her team moved through the corridors, taking down extremists with non-lethal weapons when possible. They captured the cell's leader, a Krill named Veshtal, alive. During interrogation, Veshtal showed no remorse. You think you've won? You think the galaxy will accept human dominance? We will fight forever. We will make you pay for every day you occupy council space. Sarah looked at the Krill with tired eyes. We're not occupying anyone. We're trying to establish peace. But people like you make it impossible. Peace? Veshtal clicked his mandibles in what might have been laughter. You destroyed our fleets. You crippled our economies. You humiliated civilizations that ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. And you call it peace? We call it survival, Sarah said. You tried to make us extinct. We defended ourselves. The fact that you're alive to complain about it proves we showed more mercy than you deserved. But Sarah's words haunted her as she left the interrogation room. Veshtal was wrong about many things, but he was right about one. The human response had been devastating. Even with restraint, even with precision, humanity had broken the Council's power completely. The galaxy would take generations to recover. On Earth, an emergency meeting convened. Admiral Kuznetsov, Director Morrison, and President Amara Osei gathered to discuss the future. We're winning the war, President Osei said, but we're losing the peace. Every factory we destroy creates more desperate people. Every military installation we eliminate means more soldiers with nothing to lose. We need a new approach. Admiral Kuznetsov pulled up economic projections. Ma'am, the council economy is collapsing. Trade routes we disrupted are causing food shortages on 17 worlds. If we don't do something, millions will starve. Not combatants, civilians, children. Morrison felt the weight of that statement. You're saying we need to help them? After everything they did? I'm saying we need to help them because of what we did, Elena responded. We won, we survived. Now we need to prove we're not monsters. President Osei made the decision. Open humanitarian corridors. Send food, medicine, supplies. We help them rebuild their civilian infrastructure. But we maintain control of military assets. We prove that we're not conquerors. We're defenders. The announcement shocked the galaxy. Human cargo ships escorted by warships began delivering aid to former council worlds. Food to populations facing starvation. Medicine to hospitals depleted by war. Construction materials to rebuild damaged cities. On Teshavar, the Vexthari colony world Jennifer had attacked, human engineers arrived to help repair civilian infrastructure. The same captain who had destroyed their factories now supervised food distribution centers. Jennifer walked through the streets, surrounded by Vexthari who watched her with expressions ranging from gratitude to hatred. A young Vexthari approached her, its flowing form hesitant. Why are you helping us? It asked through a translator. We tried to kill your kind. Jennifer chose her words carefully. Your leaders tried to kill us. You're just trying to live your life. There's a difference, but we supported them. We cheered when they announced the plague would end the human threat. We celebrated your potential extinction. Jennifer felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Did you personally create the plague? No. Did you personally fire on human ships? No. Then you're not responsible for what your leaders chose. You're just someone trying to survive in a galaxy that's become very complicated. Jennifer paused. We're offering a choice. You can see us as liberators or occupiers. You can build bridges or burn them. But we're not going anywhere. We're not making the same mistake twice. We're never going to be vulnerable again. The Vexthari absorbed this. What if we choose to hate you? That's your right, Jennifer said. But your children will grow up in a galaxy where humans and aliens trade, talk, and cooperate. The trial began 6 months after the war ended. The venue was a massive space station constructed specifically for this purpose, positioned in neutral space where no single species held advantage. Representatives from every species in the galaxy attended, either in person or by holographic link. The accused sat in transparent containment cells. 17 individuals faced charges of genocide, conspiracy, and crimes against sapient beings. Among them were the Vexthari Prime Administrator Veltesh, the Krill Hive Mother Keshatar, and 15 other high-ranking officials from various species. Judge Amara Chen, a human legal expert, presided over the tribunal. She had spent 3 months studying galactic law and consulting with legal scholars from 40 species to ensure the trial met everyone's standards of justice. This tribunal is not about revenge, Judge Chen announced as proceedings began. This is about establishing that certain actions are unacceptable, regardless of who commits them. Genocide is not a political decision. It is a crime against all living beings. The prosecution presented evidence methodically, communications between council members planning the attack, research data on plague development, military orders coordinating the assault on human space, casualty reports numbering in the millions. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. Former Prime Administrator Veltesh spoke in his own defense. We acted to preserve galactic stability. Humanity's access to architect technology represented an existential threat to every species in the galaxy. We made a difficult choice based on incomplete information. Prosecutor David Okonkwo, brother of the late Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, who had died from complications related to architect exposure, responded coldly. You made a choice to commit murder on a massive scale rather than engage in dialogue. You created a biological weapon designed to cause maximum suffering. You targeted civilians, children, the elderly, and the sick. There is no defense for what you did. The Krill Hive Mother took a different approach. She displayed what might have been remorse, though reading Krill emotions remained difficult for most species. I followed the council of advisors who assured me humanity represented an existential threat. I failed to question their conclusions. I failed to consider alternatives. I accept responsibility for the deaths of millions. The trial continued for 3 weeks. Witnesses testified to the plague's effects, to the coordinated military assault, to the attempted genocide's scope. Survivors spoke of watching loved ones die. Medical personnel described trying to treat a disease designed to be untreatable. The galaxy watched every moment. The proceedings were broadcast on every inhabited world. For the first time, species that had committed atrocities faced real accountability. The verdicts came on the 22nd day. All 17 defendants were found guilty. Sentences ranged from life imprisonment to exile, depending on each individual's level of involvement. No one was executed. Humanity had chosen to demonstrate that justice did not require death. Former Prime Administrator Veltesh was sentenced to life imprisonment on a human-supervised facility. As guards led him away, he looked at Judge Chen. "You won the war. You could have simply executed us. Why go through this process?" Judge Chen's answer was simple. "Because we want the galaxy to run on laws, not fear. Today we prove that even the powerful face consequences. Tomorrow we build something better." But the trial was only the beginning. Reconstruction required years of effort. The Democratic Federation replaced the old council with a new structure, designed to prevent any single species or coalition from dominating others. President Amara Osei addressed the first Democratic Federation Assembly. Representatives from 234 species filled the chamber, including many that had never been allowed meaningful participation under the old council. The old system concentrated power among a few, President Osei said. It allowed those few to make decisions affecting billions without accountability. We're building something different. A system where every voice matters, where no species can vote another into extinction, where disputes are resolved through dialogue rather than domination. The Talvarian representative, Ambassador Nelve, stood to speak. Her species had been forced to participate in the genocide attempt under threat of sanctions. President Osei, the younger species, welcomed these changes. But we remember how quickly power corrupts. What prevents humanity from becoming the new oppressors? You hold all the military advantages. President Osei had expected this question. We're sealing away most architect technology. We're maintaining only enough capability to defend against existential threats. We're publishing our military budgets. We're accepting independent inspectors on our facilities. We're submitting to the same laws as everyone else. And if we violate those laws? The Vexthari representative asked. If we rebuild our military capacity? Then you face sanctions, trials, and if necessary, force, President Osei said. But those responses will come from the Federation, not from Earth alone. We're establishing multi-species peacekeeping forces. When intervention becomes necessary, it won't be humans acting unilaterally. The Assembly debated for weeks, but eventually a framework emerged. The Democratic Federation would maintain collective security. Economic cooperation would be encouraged. Research would be shared. And most critically, a powerful oversight committee would monitor military buildups and investigate suspected weapons development. 20 years later, the galaxy looked very different. Captain Jennifer Hayes, now Admiral Hayes, walked through the rebuilt HFY shipyards. Vexthari and human engineers worked side by side, constructing civilian transport vessels. The military production facilities she had destroyed 2 decades ago had been converted to peaceful purposes. A young Vexthari engineer approached her. Its flowing form rippled with what Jennifer had learned to recognize as nervousness. Admiral Hayes, I wanted to thank you. Jennifer was surprised. Thank me? I destroyed this facility. You destroyed the military complex, but you left us alive to rebuild. My parent worked in these shipyards building weapons. Now I work here building ships that carry people, goods, and hope. The Vexthari paused. My parent died believing humanity would exterminate us. I live knowing you chose mercy. That choice made all the difference. Jennifer felt emotions she had not expected. Your parent and mine both believed the worst about the other side. We're trying to build something better. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. Former enemies worked together. Trade flourished. Cultural exchanges became common. Human music played on alien worlds. Alien art decorated human cities. Children grew up learning about species that had once been mortal enemies. But humanity never forgot the lessons learned. On Earth, in a facility beneath the Arctic ice, Dr. Marcus Chen studied the sealed architect installations. 5 remained active for defense. 37 sat dormant, their power contained but not destroyed. Director Park, successor to Director Morrison, visited quarterly to review security. Any signs of unauthorized access? None, Marcus reported. The installations remain sealed. But I review activation protocols monthly. If we ever need them again, we can bring them online within 24 hours. Let's hope we never do, Park said. But both men knew the installations remained there for a reason. The galaxy had proven it could turn on humanity. That knowledge could never be forgotten. In schools across human space, children learned the history of the genocide war. They learned about the plague, the betrayal, the desperate fight for survival. They learned about the choices their ancestors made, both the violent ones and the merciful ones. Teacher Ellen Zhao addressed her class of 12-year-olds on Mars. Why did humanity choose trials instead of executions? A girl raised her hand. Because killing is easy. Justice is hard. That's right, Ellen said. And why did we seal away most architect technology? A boy answered. Because power corrupts. We wanted to stay human instead of becoming gods. Exactly, Ellen said. Remember these lessons. The galaxy is peaceful now, but it took incredible effort to build that peace. It would take very little to destroy it. On the old Krill homeworld, Hive Mother Tesh'Val, successor to the executed Keshtar, met with human diplomats. Her generation had grown up in the war's aftermath, learning about the attempted genocide and humanity's response. Ambassador Williams, she said, my people want to discuss reductions in military oversight. We have complied with all Federation regulations for 20 years. We have rebuilt our civilization around peaceful commerce. When will Earth trust us again? Ambassador James Williams considered the question carefully. Hive Mother, trust is earned slowly and lost quickly. Your predecessor tried to exterminate my species. That's not something we can forget in a single generation. I understand. Tesh'Val clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. But my people did not make that choice. We are trying to build something better. You are, Williams acknowledged. And the Federation recognizes your efforts. We will propose reducing oversight incrementally. But complete trust? That may take another generation or two. We're thinking long-term now. Back on Earth, the original memorial stood in Geneva. A simple black wall listed every name of every human who died in the plague and the war. 2,400,632 names.